And we are live with my first ever live stream. I am Gustyrill. You can call me Gus or Gusty. Let's do a sound check. If anybody's in the stream right now, can you let me know what you hear? How does it sound to you? I see Plague of Shadows and Dr. Arnie. Who is my technical advisor as well. Thank you, Dr. Arnie. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a stress test on the server here to make sure that the stream is clear. I am hearing myself, Dr. Arnie. Do you have any advice on that? After about a couple of second lag. Cerberus, my brother. Glad you're here. Appreciate the support. I'm pretty excited about this. Anybody else here yet? Make sure that when you get here, hop in the chat so that I know that you're here. I want this to be a very interactive experience. There's, hey Dal, there's artwork incoming that is going to include skulls and axes for sure. I have an artist that's working on that at the moment. We'll have icons, we'll have banners. We're gonna figure out how to mod and put our own custom flags and heraldry into the games. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hi Kai. Glad you're here. Thank you. And I'm sure that at some point we'll figure out how to make our own emoticons and stuff. It's going to be a learning as we go. We're just going to try to hit the ground running as best we can. So just to give a little bit of background on what this is going to be about for anyone who doesn't know. I'm going to try to do an Ironman journey through all of the Paradox Grand Strategy games. Starting with Imperator Rome, going to CK3, then Europa Universalis 4, Victoria 2, then Hearts of Iron 4, which is World War II, and then we're going to push on into the future and go into space with Stellaris and try to figure that out. Now my background in these games comes solely from CK2 and CK3. I have thousands of hours in both of those games. But I have less than 0 hours in the other games. but I've always wanted to do this. So we're going to go into it with just purely novice, purely learning. If any of you have experience playing these games, I am happy to hear from you guys at any point with your tips and knowledge and experience. Thanks, Dal. Appreciate it. Definitely be leaning heavily on you when we get to that point. That'll be, that's down the road quite a bit. I will definitely be inside the game here. We'll be going along, but outside of the game, I'll be expanding my knowledge. I have watched a few uh, tutorial videos from Lord Forwind and One Proud Bavarian. Definitely anything that we do here should not reflect on those guys and the excellent job they've done on their tutorials. We're going to be doing it our way. What's up with all the raccoons here, Plague of Shadows? What does that mean exactly? We're going to have to moderate you. Am I going to have to set Dr. Arnie as a moderator to? So I have this idea. COE certainly. We're gonna do something here. I have this idea where the people who are in the stream chat, the followers, are going to act as my advisors as if it was CK3. So we might establish that someone is the spy master, someone is the military advisor, Cerberus, someone would be the diplomatic advisor, who I may or may not, follow the advice that I get. I'm definitely open to advice from anybody. There will certainly be times when, if we're at a crossroads, I'll be asking the chat for what we should do. And then we'll put our heads together and see how it comes. And of course, if it works out, it was all me. And if it didn't work out, then I'll be holding you responsible and fire you out of a cannon. So that should be fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. So we can establish some roles. Kai, you are going to be my spy master, or we'll figure it out. Economic advisor, maybe. So I wanted to let's just go ahead and start a new game, and we'll just go from here. So Imperator Rome. Remind yourself from time to time that you are human. Menander. Fear. What has a man to do with fear? Daz. Welcome, buddy. It's good to see you. So Daz, what's your experience with Imperator Rome? Do you have any? I do. I have hair. I cut 4 inches off the back because I was getting Getting a little long back there. Had a mullet. It was like a mullet. Well, we'll be learning this game together then. Definitely looking for input from you guys on how we go. I know if I task Daz, he'll know everything about this game probably in 24 hours, 48 hours. So Daz, I was telling everybody that at some point I'm going to establish some roles for people in the chat. It'll probably change from chat to chat depending on who's present. It would be like the standard CK3 advisor roles. So you'd have the religious, you'd have the economic, the spying, intrigue, military, diplomacy. In this game, they have it similar advisor roles, but there's like I don't know 8 of them, and they're written in Latin and stuff. So they're not. We'll go with CK3 roles. One thing that I've read about this game is everyone advises beginners to start as like Rome or Carthage or Egypt or all these powers, because obviously these are going to be the powerhouse civilizations throughout this game probably. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to hopefully find a way to survive this game. We're going to eke out a survival through this game to get to CK3, where we're then going to build a huge empire in CK3. And then after CK3, we'll watch our great empire slowly peter out over the course of the other games that we have also never played. And we'll try to make it to Stellaris. So that's our 3-point plan. 1, eke out a survival in this game, stay away from Rome. 2, make a gigantic empire, multiple empires, CK3. And 3, watch it slowly disintegrate over the course of time in World War II. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong. Some sub goals that we have are going to be we're going to establish a Germanic presence through the course of this. It'll be hopefully be a kingdom. And then when we upload that into CK3, we'll grow that, and we will if we can't keep the Catholics from forming in this game, then we'll have to go down and take them out in CK3. So that's the goal. We're like time travelers. We know a little bit about the future, and we're going to try to go back in time and stop the Catholics from forming. Indeed. All right, so a little bit about why I want to do this. To make these games interesting for myself, I like to kind of tap into my own heritage and knowledge of history and understanding of my culture and stuff. And so I recently learned of my genetic haplogroup, which which will tracks this specific line tracks from father to father to father to father all the way back to the beginning of time. Odin, Heil Odin. It's my Odin shirt. Good call. Good call, Cerberus. So, through my fathers, all the way back to the beginning of time, we all came out of Africa, came up through Egypt, we went just past the Black Sea here, up into the Russian steppes. We became the tribe that were called the Kurgans, which we'll be inserting some Kurgan photos here in the video editing later. They tamed horses on the steppes, and then they split into two groups. One went actually down. This is the Indo-Europeans, right? This is the classic Indo-Europeans. One group went down into India, and became the what's called the Aryans, right? Everyone is familiar with that. And the mythical Aryans. The other group came up here. They split into one group, came up into Scandinavia and through Germany. And I learned that they were at this point called the corded ware people, which had to do with the type of pottery that they found on their sites, which is like when they take loops of clay and braided them together and like stacked them on top of each other. They buried their dead in shallow graves under short mounds, and they laid them on their sides in like a fetal position with their knees up. It's very interesting. And this is like Neolithic into Bronze Age. And they traveled up through here. And this is what I found that was really exciting to me. They settled in southern Scandinavia, and they developed stone battle axes and became called the battle axe people, which clearly has there's no there's no rush here, Plague. Get a cup of coffee and relax. All right, so how is that going to affect our gameplay here? That's true, there's no Pope. So what that means is that somewhere in this section, we got to settle on a place to start playing from. Obviously, we want to play away from this. These guys are going to probably expand up into here. So this is like a barbarians and no man's land right here. Nobody. Hopefully, they can be a good buffer for us while we figure the game out and grow in strength. So some strategies that we're trying to put into play. We're probably going to have to. These are tribal barbarians. We're going to need to civilize them to some degree to be able to get to the higher end military troops. and you're going to be able to get to either a republic or a monarchy, and we're going to be aiming towards a monarchy. So where the highest, we got some tabs up here that'll help us to make our decision. This is the culture map mode. So this is important because in this game, if you are of the same culture as another area, then you get a better reputation from those people, better relations. So some of these culture groups are broken into like just a couple of territories, and some of them are broken into like several territories. And so the question for me is, would it be a good idea to be part of the one of them that has a larger number of territories for either trade? If we're going to try to be friendly eventually, obviously we might want to take them over or absorb them through through good relations. So that's definitely not my usual mode. It's usually just taking it over and making them have to deal with it and acting as a tyrant. And we can go ahead right now and click on Ironman Mode. That's what we're gonna do. So all of these brown ones share a religious group. This tuistic group is like a primitive. It eventually evolves into Asatru, but currently it's more of an animistic. The head god is a god named Taiwas, who becomes Tyr in Asatru. This is not in the game. This is just real mythology. One of the gods in this tuistic is a goddess named Nerthus, who eventually becomes a god named Njord, who is a sea god, and who's the father of Frey and Freya. They are the Vanir as opposed to the Aesir. So what's interesting in this game is that there is a system called apotheosis where they elevate their dead leaders to god status, which is interesting because in the Icelandic poetic Eddas, there is a hereditary where they trace their ancestry through the mythological kings like Ragnar, Harold, Fairhair, and such, all the way back to Odin. And before Odin, even they track the ancestry all the way back to Troy. And they say that it was the fall of Troy after the Greeks destroyed Troy. The fleeing Trojans are the ones who migrated up to Scandinavia. And the belief also is that somewhere around here is where the Aesir tribe encountered the Vanir tribe. had a huge war that eventually they both tired of until they merged into one people. And then they continued over to here. And how do I get this back to just regular? This will work. From Asia, Odin came, took over this whole space, established his base up here in like Upland in Sweden, where that's usually a holy land. He split this into like 7 different kingdoms where he set his sons and his Njord and then they ended up with Frey and Njord ended up having their kingdom down here, and this is Zealand. And there's myths about how a giantess pulled a plow through, or is it Jephion, who she was a goddess. She pulled a plow through here and made an island out of this. And also, like the Fenris wolf is chained on one of these islands, and all of the myths and stuff that kind of took place right in this area. All right, so if you look at this, this is the civilization map mode, and you look at this, the more green it is, the more civilized they are. So obviously these places down here on the equator are the most civilized. Yeah, Kai, hi, I see you're on your main account now. Yes, they can all be connected. There are mods. There's mods. You can take the final game file from this game and put it through a converter, upload it into the next game. And then start from there. And then similarly for EU4 into Hearts of Iron. And then there's like this experimental one to go from Hearts of Iron into Stellaris, which they say it isn't really necessary. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. I passed on. We're definitely not going to pass on Victoria, Daz. No, we're not going to skip it. We're going to do it. And looking forward to it. It might even be. Here's the thing, Daz, is that by the time we get there, they're coming out with Victoria 3. So whether we go Victoria 2 or Victoria 3 depends on, how long it takes us. And we'll see, how established. What is this link here, Daz? Do I need to get my mod, Dr. Arnie, on this? Okay, cool, yeah. So we'll definitely explore if there's multiple conversion mods. We'll definitely be going with whichever one is the best one. Let me just I want to encourage everybody also right now for future, if you want to be getting updates on schedule changes and when I'm going to be streaming, you might want to go ahead and click on some of my links down there. I've got a Twitter, I've got that YouTube, I've got a Facebook, and then I'll be trying to track the things that I do in the future. As well, Dr. Arnie's going to be taking my videos that I'm recording and he's going to edit them down just get to the fine points. He's gonna get to the funny parts. Get to the lulls and put those out. He's gonna add. He's got special effects and stuff. He's gonna play with. He made that teaser trailer for me, which I'm very impressed with and proud of. He did a great job. All right, back to the game here. Okay, so you can see we don't have anything that's even remotely could be called civilized here, although some are, more brownish, I guess, than red. So I had some thoughts of going all the way up to as far as way as I could go, and we can look at these. So we got Rugia here. That's the same culture group as Grania. Things that it tells us is the number of territories they have, the number of pops they have, which stands for population. And so I'm guessing, let's look, this 10 here relates to this 10 tribesmen. So they go up, the lowest is slaves, tribesmen, then your freemen, citizens, and then nobles. And I know that it's the nobles who give you like tech boosts and stuff like that. And so I think the higher citizens and nobles. And so a lot of these, if you don't have any citizens, you don't have any nobles, if you're up here and you're more red than green, you're going to be really low on the tech line. And that's how you get to the higher powered legions, is you have to unlock some military techs. And I also learned through one of these there's a different map mode, and they're not giving us access to all the map modes here on this screen. But something that happens in this game, outside of just the fact that you have to deal with your neighbors and have relations there, you also have these barbarian spawn points. And they indicate the places that civilization hasn't reached at all yet. And I know that there's one right here just outside of, in Ultima Thule, which is what they call Norway at this point. Now, I don't think there's a barbarian spawn point here above what is Proto-Sweden, which is Sweonia. Clearly, this total pops is going to be just adding all of these together. Leaf, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're just kind of exploring where we're trying to establish where we're going to start from right now. The barbarians will attack. They'll be very destructive. I think that they end up spawning. I'm replying to Kai right now. I think they spawn in like 1 or 2,000 levels of troops. So they build up until they get to the point where they explode out and attack whoever's close. And so then there's probably barbarians. I think there's barbarian spawn points, like periodic throughout this section. And so then they hopefully would head south, right? And not head north, but you never know. And the other thing we're looking at, Leaf, right now is the relative civilization level of these starting points. We decided that we're going to go with the Germanic start just because when we get to CK3, I want to be, starting in the north as Azatru. So, good question, Kai, about the barbarians having boats. There are pirate spawn points, and when we get onto that, like I know there's one in Varinia. I know that there'll be like a pirate flag here when we get to that, when we can open up that map. So I know there's one there. I'm not sure where else there are, but yeah. So that's what we'll call barbarians with boats. We'll call them the pirates, and you can establish when you start this up, and you can activate your establish your navy, and you can have them patrolling for pirates, right? And you can have them patrolling for raiders. And when they take over those pirates, they add ships to our fleet. So I've heard that we only have to make like 10 or 15, maybe 20 ships of our own, and then they will go out and conquer other ships and build our fleet up into the hundreds. So maybe I think it would be smart for us to have uh, navies at some point. That's a power in this game, is to have a strong navy. So back to what we were talking about with the cultures. I feel like so Herulia and Burgundia have the same culture. Let's click on that. Yeah. And then these Swebians down here, these guys all have the same culture too. So I have a couple of thoughts about that, and Cerberus, Leaf, and Daz, Dal, people who have military Kai experience. If we started as one of these groups that had cultural good relations, maybe they wouldn't be as hostile to us in the beginning, so that would give us a buffer against somebody else. It's that or try to put our back to a wall like with Australia in Risk. Where you don't have a lot of people able to get at you, so you could set up a defense. Now, because look at this. These guys have 10 pops. The neighbor has only 9, right? So you've got a little bit of a numerical advantage, but it's not, you don't have a dominant ability. Yeah, with the 10, you don't really have a dominant against anybody here. So you'd kind of be tortoising up or something, and that's not what we want to do. I hear you. Okay, so let's look at history real quick and what really happened to Rome. Who took them out? It was like the Goths, right? That was like the Visigoths, but I mean, is that so? Up here we got East Gothia, West Gothia up here, right? We know Sweden. We know Sweden in history becomes like a major power, and then Denmark becomes a major power, and Norway doesn't. Not for a long time. And in CK3, Norway's just a bunch of independent states that get wiped out pretty easily. And so this is Denmark. and then this is Sweden up here. So we should think about that. But look at who's more civilized. If we look at like Herulia, look at the composition of their population. They've got slaves, tribesmen, they got freemen, and a couple of citizens. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Carthage for sure. Well, we're actually hoping we never ever see those guys, I think. So we got Carthage. Yeah, so I mean, these guys are going to be expanding up. This is all tribal too. This is Gaul, right? So we want these guys holding them back. But up here too, I thought we have like the Vandals are up here someplace too. And I know the Vandals, I mean, they got that reputation. Gothonia. Let's look inside Gothonia. No, I don't see them being called the Vandals. But I think that's ah, look what we found. Okay, the Vandals. Here's the Vandals. Here's Goths. I feel like those guys got their reputation for all the damage that they did to Rome. So that's. I like what Daz is saying about Herulia though too. So let's look at that again. The civilization one. Okay. Bam, civilization. Okay, so let's back it up. So let's look at the neighbors around. Let's look around here and see what else is around and see if that's. So Anglia has no citizens. Okay. Cimbria, which up here. Now he says this is the capital of Denmark, but I know that this is an important part of Denmark right now. They've got 21 pops, 4 freemen. Ah, no citizens. Okay, so maybe that's not the place. Okay, let's look at Anglia. No. Varinia. Okay, Varinia here. 31 pops versus Herulia 26. But they're down on the mainland too, so they'd have a lot harder time defending. 13-8. All right. Rugia, meh. Burgundia, eh. All right. Who votes for Herulia? Show of hands. Okay. I doubt anyone's going to object. All right. It's unanimous. All right, let's check out Herulia. All right, let's look at this guy. He's the chief. This could be a factor. Randmund Sigamandris. Pretty low martial. Says he's ambitious and an original thinker. His finesse is high. And his charisma is high. Zeal, meh, not too high. Let's do it. If we die, we die. All right. So, now let's do a deep dive on this and figure out exactly what's going on. Looks like we have 114 gold. This is our treasury. Our manpower, 1,800 is our max. So we're not at our max right now. We're growing up to the max. Political influence increasing, can be between 0 and 500. So we're pretty low at that right now. Military experience 0 and gaining. Stability is right between 0 and 100. So we're at perfect equilibrium. Aggressive expansion is growing due to arbitration. Okay, our war exhaustion 0. We're not currently at war. Tyranny, no tyranny, but that I expect will grow. Ha 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 ha. Centralization is okay. Effects from our current centralization. So there's I've learned there's a couple directions you can go if you want to decentralize and be like a roving band of barbarians. Then you want to decentralize. If you want to become a monarchy, then you want to centralize. So this number we're going to have to find ways to increase. All right, let's find a different. Okay, I'm glad to see that these map modes have. We want to find a better map to distinguish our guys. There we go. Okay, so this is us. All right, looks like we have a couple of ships. Let's look at those guys. Looks like they don't have a commander, is my guess. Can we merge them? Attachments not allowed. Let's find out how we can make it be allowed. Okay, click to allow to merge. We got to find the other, get our other unit. Here it is. We're going to allow attachments, and let's attach those together so they're a larger unit. Change commander. Okay, let's not do this just yet unless we have a guy who looks like they're. This is. Because we might want to assign these guys to something else, so let's not jump on doing that yet. So we got a 6, we got a 6. Let's check out our levies and stuff and see how many commanders we need for that. Because we'll want our best guys probably on land. So let's hold off on that. I just saw those guys there though, so. Okay, so going down this side, let's look at our nation overview. Herulia. Unlike in CK3, it doesn't look like we can change the name of our country, which is unfortunate because I would love to customize. We'll figure that out later. Okay, so number of territories. Scandia Insula owns 7 territories, so that must be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the 7? Ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is us. It's our islands. Okay. Free province investments. All right. Civilization level. These are the decisions that we're going to have to choose from for our missions. Form tribal kingdom. That's definitely what we're going to want to do. What is codify state lands? Effect. Gains codified state lands. Gain 10 civilization. I mean, this might be something that we need to do on the path to get this. Okay, so to get this, we have to get our centralization higher than 25. It's currently minus 50. Is how I'm reading that. And then all of our chiefs which they do right now, have 33 or higher loyalty. So we need to maintain that. Down here, it says the effect of this one will increase the local civilization level by 10%, that we would gain 10 civilization value. Currently is 5. And I don't know why it's not. Okay, so what does this say? We found a good home. It's time we settle down and adopt a more sedentary lifestyle. Yes. So we're not doing that yet. I think it's possible that we can't even open the thing up. We can't even open the decision up until we have the centralization. And similarly on this one, it looks like we have to get our centralization higher than 50. So maybe tribal kingdom has to come up before this. It looks like we have some laws that we have to enact before we can do that. Okay. Ideas. Okay, so these are some decisions that we have to make about in what I've seen. He's pretty much keeping in martial ethos, which makes sense. This one here would decrease our shipbuilding cost. This one here would increase our reinforcement speed and morale recovery, which, you know, if that's if you lose, but we're not going to start out with a loser mentality. We're going to go with we're winners. So we'll put martial ethos for sure. And let's come over here. The other one that I've seen as default is, what is this? Sanctioned privileges. Monthly corruption minus 0.5, 0.05. Agreeing to look the other way from time to time, we can lessen our reliance on using currency as a tool for bribery. But how do we know what our current level of corruption is? I would like to know that before we put that in. So now it looks like to initiate these objectives has a cost associated with it. Idea cost 20 political influence. So this is some political currency that we can spend on establishing our. So I don't want to. I don't want to spend it yet until we decide which direction we're going. And we can change that in a bit. Let's look at this tab, administration tab, Scandia. All right, so I guess we are the Scandia region. Our capital, Herulia Centralis. Okay. Provinces. Why is it only showing? Okay, so the province, I guess, is the whole thing. Something that I know we want to do is we want to establish automatic trade. Governorships. So maybe there's no governorships. My guy's handling it all himself. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go down the list. Let's see what we got. We'll come back to some things. Economy. Okay, so as far as I know, I can click on these and change these without it costing me points. I did hear that it is a good idea that if you are not at war, to decrease the army maintenance because you're paying for something that you're not using. I'm going to hold off on doing that because it might be very possible that after we've analyzed our enemies, we might we might be going to war like right away. I don't know that for a fact, but it's possible. So I'm not going to change anything there yet. So taxes. So if we lowered the taxes, it would increase the happiness of the people, but we would lose income. If you raise taxation, you get more slaves and your research goes down. Okay, commerce, export value goes up. If you reduce it, import value goes down. Currently, we have 2 extra import routes. All right. We have no subjects paying us tribute. That will change. Everybody still with me? All right. Army maintenance, fleet maintenance, that's pretty self-explanatory. Wages, monthly wages for characters, governor wage. That would be reduced. Right now, everything is the same. I can increase the governor wage. So the governor has more money. He's got his own money that's separate from this. This is the country's money. If there's ever one of these screens you guys want to see to help with like your analysis of a situation, let me know. I can click on it. Happy to do that. All right, religion. This is something that we have some ability to manipulate. Okay, so we have, at any time, we have a pantheon of 4 deities from the larger pantheon of deities that we can select and drop in here. These guys, well, if we trigger it, they can do an emotion. So they've all got like a passive thing that they do for our civilization. And then we can also come in and tap them, make them do their omen, and then they will do this, what's not highlighted right now. So like, so this guy would give us a minus 25% on Casus Belli cost. This guy would increase slave output, ruler gain, reduce war exhaustion, and increases population. So what we have over here are holy sites, and these are treasures that are held by the holy site that give an extra bonus. So one thing that we can do is if we're attacking someone in a foreign population that has a holy site that has a treasure in it, we can desecrate their holy site, take their treasure, bring it back and put it into one of our holy sites. So we'll probably want to do that at some point. So let's look. So these are holy sites. The holy site for Nerthus is in Europa Borealis. I wonder if there's a... Okay, so that one doesn't look like it's in our area. That one doesn't look like it's in our area. Okay, so Nerthus, Tuistic deity of fertility worship in Europa Borealis by the Herulian people. Major fertility goddess, as well as one of the more popular fertility deities among the Germanic tribes in general. Now remember I said that Nerthus is the deity that evolved into Niord, who is a sea god. So by this game's terminology, Niord would have been the ruler who would have been, after his death, through apotheosis would have been elevated to god status and took the slot that Nerthus is. So let's go over here. Just for pure RP reasons, we can select the different fertility god. So this Nerthus, if we put Nerthus in here, it's going to give us better happiness and food modifier. If we tap for the omen, we'd get a food bonus. So that sounds like good stuff. So we're going to replace. Let's replace this right now. Okay, so we can't call an omen for 36 months after switching. Okay, that's fine. Stability decreased. Ooh. All right, that's here. So it dropped 15 points. That's a significant amount. But look at what we did. Hopefully this means something. Every god that we have right now has a holy site that has a treasure in it. That other one that we had didn't have that, so. So this looks like we're going to get a bonus of 10% on trade routes by doing that, so that's cool. So when we're getting ready to start the game, before we do anything else, once we know what we're going to do, we'll tap one of these gods and we'll get their omen, because the omen lasts for like 5 years or something like that. And then you can't activate another omen from another god until then. So we want to make sure that we focus whatever omen we're doing towards whatever our tactic is. Okay, so it looks like our religion is giving a plus 16% bonus to the happiness of altruistic people. And we have 26 pops in our nation. All right, let's look at the next thing here. That was religion, culture. Okay, primary culture happiness is 34%. Hey, Plague of Shadows, can you do something about the dog that's barking at the door? Thanks, Plague. All right, number of pops. All right, integration says we should be fully integrated. Slave, 30%. Civic right has a noble civic right, highest possible civic right. It means that Herulian pops can promote to all pop types that exist. That's good. Each additional culture with noble civil rights will. So we don't have any nobles. I think that at some point we'll need to figure out how to get to become nobles. Cultural decisions. Exemption from census tax. Are you sure you wish to enact? No, we're not sure about that yet. Cultural decisions. So are all of these in effect, or do we need to tap one? Do we have, does this blank spot here mean that we don't have any decision in effect? If that's the case, let's do an experiment here. Let's read these and then just pick one and then we'll see what happens. All right, so do we want to give people an exemption from the census tax? I don't like giving exemption from tax. I think we need that money. Right of appeal. Culture would get more happiness. Culture freeman output, slave output. This declines our slave output and our freeman output, increases culture happiness. I don't know if we don't want to do that. We don't have any nobles, so maybe having a lower noble happiness right now isn't in effect. So maybe this would be just pure bonus. On this one, we would get bonus on our citizen happiness. And we're happy to allow families to adopt characters of cultures other than Herulian. Eventually, we're going to have to expand and include other cultures, right? And some kind of land rights thing here that's going to negatively impact the citizens and freemen. So I think let's just go ahead and ease restrictions right now and see what happens. See if it. I'm hoping that it will show up over here. Aha. Okay. Eased restrictions. While citizenship is restricted by birth, it is possible for some to earn the right to be considered citizens. We should lighten these restrictions and rules. Okay. Cool. Show only integrated cultures. Oh, we don't need to worry about it. We've only got the one culture. All right, let's get out of here. Trade overview. Capital surplus. Okay, we want to come up here. We want to accept all trades. And we want to block surplus. We don't want to allow any trade offers that would make us lose our capital bonus. So it looks like we have a capital surplus of amber, which gives us a monthly ruler popularity gain. Somewhere down here, I think there's one of these tabs will tell us, yeah, trade goods. Okay. This tells us what we produce in our area. Look, okay, so we got amber here. We have fish, furs, leather, a little bit of wood, and some salt. So that's what we produce. So if we want anything that's not that, we're going to need to import it. I think eventually we're going to need to find like iron and things like that. All right, all trade routes, exports. I don't know what that means. Didn't pop anything, but we'll see. We'll leave that open, then we'll see what happens over time. All right, that was trade. Okay, so I just got a lag spike. I just got a little bit of a lag spike doing this stress test. Dr. Arnie and Plague, did you guys feel that lag spike? And everybody out in Streamland? All right, military. So let's take a look. Levies. So 4 pops from Scandia. This is our army. Looks like we have 4. And I think, so these are cohorts. A cohort is 500 men. So this means we have 2,000. So we'd have 2,000 men if we raise this group. Okay, I don't know what that did. Okay, so that's the levies map mode. Displays your nation's governorship levies and allows you to raise them from the map. Okay, so that shows where they would come from. They're in the capital here. And their composition is 500 men in the light cavalry, 500 men heavy infantry, and 1,000 light infantry. And this shows, I think, that the leader of this group is Radamund, who has a pretty low. His martial skills pretty low. So I don't know who else we have yet. We'll find out who else we have in our group that we can clan chiefs and stuff. So I did see, clicking on him, let's take a look. He looks like we have no children, so that's not good from a inheritance standpoint. This is our wife. So how old are we? We're 29, and Gerhild Gerolda, 24. Now she's got a better martial score than us, but we didn't open up, we did not unlock equal rights. We'll try to do that in CK3 when we update the religion. We'll go for equal rights at that point. All right, our wife is arbitrary and a benefactor, so those are good things. Attempt to make friends. Are we not already friends? How would I know? Imprison, make rival. Schemes. She's content. She's not targeted by anyone. Looks like our leader, who is the head of a great family, has 3 out of 3 jobs, and he is currently siphoning funds. While having this ambition, the following effects are active. Corruption is going up. Wealth is going up. Now, I'm also noticing here on this that the personal income for this guy is 0, which is not good. If you have like disloyal people, something that you're going to be able to do to increase their loyalty is to give them bribes. And those bribes would come out of his personal pocket. So he needs to, I'm going to let him keep siphoning funds. He needs to have some way of making money. What is this here? Statementship, currently 31.99, changes by 0.83% each month due to he's ambitious. Ruler, okay, let's look at this. So he's ambitious. Some martial finesse. So we want to keep track of these sorts of things. Whatever ruler that we have at the end of the next game, if it doesn't automatically create them in the system in the CK3, we'll take a snapshot of this and then we'll create them in a ruler designer and try to make them as accurate as possible to what they were in this game. Whoever that is at the point of the change. The other thing that we're going to try to do, or that we need to do before we export to CK3, thanks Plague, is we need to establish in the base game of this and the base game of CK3, there's like an 800-year gap between this game and the next game. And so I think there's some sort of a workaround there where either you start CK3 earlier or you play this game longer, or it just ports it in and we just do the best we can. I think, and however it works out, it's going to be cool. All right, so arrange adoption. What? Because notice what, we don't have any kids right now, right? So do we need to adopt? I don't want to do that. I have faith in our guy. Click to favorite this character. Yeah, that's our guy. So he's showed up over here. Showed up over there. All right. So that was military. We'll go back to that, I'm sure. Okay, mercenaries. We're not gonna worry about mercenaries right now. Diplomacy. Foreign relations. Looks like we don't have any. What is this? Okay, so this is where we still have an idea we got to put in. It can be another martial idea, or it can be the reducing corruption. Now we noticed that we had our leader is upping the corruption because he's siphoning funds. I wonder which one of these things corruption affects. We're gonna have to figure that out. Ah, ruler corruption under political influence. So currently it says +0. So our political influence could go down if we get more and more corrupt. So it looks like we can access this from here. No, we can't. Okay, let's go back up to nation, administration, overview. Okay, here. No idea. Let's come down here and let's we'll reduce corruption to offset the corruption that we are instigating. And when we get another slot unlocked, eventually, when we become more civilized, we can come in with another martial. Or if we feel like we need to change it later, then we can do it. So, who's watching? Is there any way to know from my tabs? This is our first time doing this. So, let's see if I can. I don't know that I need this up. Looks like there's not a way to tell from OBS. Let me see if I can jump to Twitch and see if there's anything. Clip that. Channel. No. Creator dashboard. No idea. Not important. Whoa. Screwing this up. Okay, back to our analysis. All right, so it was diplomacy. We're looking at that. Okay, military tech level 0. Ships, we have 2. Okay, and the levies. I really don't like that this guy is the head of our levies. How do I... Legions button, traditions. Culture is Germanic. Okay, so we've got Germanic. Okay, we don't have either of these two. Wait, nope. So we start out with Celtic and Britannic, apparently, for... So as we go down... So if we wanted to pick up a Celto-Italic, we would start on this tree and go down. Shield wall, that looks important. Scale the walls. Hit and run. Okay, so this stuff comes from military experience. So as we get more... Hi, Das. Hi, Dal. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is all future stuff. We're gonna have to figure out because, as we gain, then you open up these things. I do know that to get legions and stuff, you're gonna want to be able to open up. Plague, there's a dog. Okay, so like italic to get to some of these Castra. This one was important. I saw this. This is a constructing border forts. You have to have this. But I do know also that I guess there's lots of people that already have forts around. So you take over places. It sounded like you can end up destroying more forts that people have so that you don't have to maintain them as opposed to building them. But I guess if you did want one in a specific place, you're going to need to have that tech. All right, and so Britannic traditions, chariots. Ooh, chariots are tight. Okay, glory of the hunt. Enslavement efficiency, yes. This is good. Selective breeding. It's about horses, but it sounds important. Living off the land. Trained cavalry. Getting cavalry, that's important. Embracing Celt-Iberian African influence. Natural resources. Gives you tribesmen, people on the move. Let's look at that italic again. Price needs active discipline, V-lights, hill dwellers. One of these gives you like a bunch of inventions. I don't know which one it is. But anyways, we're limited to these two right now until we unlock something else. So, and we don't have any points to put in that, so we're going to skip that for now. All right, tech. I think we have no innovations, and let's see what this says. So we do have some citizens, so we will be gaining points. So this is good. With an output of 0 per year, that's not very good. And 26 integrated culture pops, we get an efficiency of 3.6. So we need to try to get those numbers up. Okay. Who are these jokers? Martial advancers. So he has a 6 in martial. Civic advances. I'm guessing these would be related to each other. Like one of these would be, let's go back. All right, so he's got a plus 60 on research. This guy's a plus 90 on research. What gives him his bonus? I'd like to know. Loyalty, he's pretty loyal. Prominence. Okay, so this prominence gives him a plus 32 as researching. 8 martial. Maybe he should be researching our martial stuff. Select a new researcher. Okay, so we can swap those guys. This guy's a plus 80, plus 90. This guy. So if the advances that we really want to make are in martial, then it makes sense that we want one of these higher end guys. This guy's got a 3. I think it makes sense for this Hildalake to be researching our martial. Okay, and so it's sign administrator, sort by martial, loyalty, corruption, age. Okay, so corruption is on here. Base 0. So I wonder if to get this guy out, if I wanted to swap these guys. Can't just drag and drop. I probably have to stick someone in here. So what are the penalties for dismissing an incumbent? If it's going to screw up their loyalty to fire them, even if I stick them in something else. If it's anything like the other game, then I wouldn't want to do that. So we'll hold off. No. Okay. We'll skip that for now, but it's good to know that we are accruing some technology. All right, so characters. So this will be interesting. Show families. So this is our tribal chief. Looks like we've got a couple other war chiefs here. Now this means prestige. Okay. 28, power base, power base, power base. Okay. Segamandrus. Now it's not telling me the relationship, like if they're my brothers or whatever. I don't know if they're brothers or... Now the question was, so this is my wife, right? This Gerhild, so she's in this other family. So she doesn't take my last name. Looks like she's part of this Gerolda family. All right, so she's here. So I'm guessing that this is also in order of your status within the family. So these guys, like if these guys died, then this is probably next man up sort of a situation. So regardless of whether I have any kids or not, and it looks like kids can be higher up the chain depending on what their status is. I'm guessing this is probably, it looks like all men are ahead of women. Sorry, Kai. But maybe if the last man goes, then the women get elected. All right, so we got 20 years old here, 19 here, 17 here. So I'm just trying to establish what is the age where you become a man in this game. You know, in CK3 it was 16. So we've got some evidence of a 17 here, so we'll see. It looks like there's a big gap, big age gap between 17 and 1. Oh, here's a 3. Here's a 5. Okay, so it looks like their model does change at some point. 16. Okay. Let's click on one of these war chiefs and see if they're assigned to some jobs. See if it says anywhere. Content. Exalt clan chief. Give free hands. Grant holding. Grant stipends. Make friends. Okay. Loyalty is currently 58.3. Things that are negatively impacting it are minus 1.1 power base and country, whatever that means. Stubborn minus 5. So he's lazy and stubborn. So that's good to know. Martial 5. Charisma 5. This guy's not that great. Okay, so go back. Took me there, not to where I wanted to be. Okay, families. Let's check out the other war chief. Okay, this guy's got a low martial also. His finesse is pretty high. He's crafty. Okay, so he is crafty, which means his corruption is higher. And chaste. Ugh. That's funny. Theodomer considers his body an unassailable temple of virtue and honor. So does everyone else. So he is a father, and he's being targeted. I don't know what that means exactly, but the high priest is targeting him. All right. Now let's go to, what are these things up here? All right. Bad research ratio. Our citizens and nobles produce 0.07 research points each month with an output of 0. Culture pops. We know that. We know we need to get that up somehow. All right, unused trade routes in capital. There are 0 import routes to our capital. Well, we could have 2 imports. Okay, so we need to get some imports going. We'll have to establish if we need food or if we might. All right, so we do have, who is this now? This is our navy. Needs a commander. So it's time to select a commander. Since we haven't been tasked with selecting a commander from anywhere else, let's just go ahead and put our best man on it. Okay, so that didn't do it. Let's see. Okay, he's a tactician. Got a pretty big delay in the chat right now. Did I lag out? Tactician. Okay, it's not a drag and drop thing. There he is. He's our admiral. Okay, now let's give him some advice. Boarding, ramming. Select unit objective. Okay, so we know that there's such a thing as pirates, and we know that if we take them out, that we will take over their ships. We want more ships, so let's give him an objective of destroy pirates. Bam. All right, buddy. Now he will be automated, and he will go around, and he will lead the units. All right, so that got rid of that. What's this? Omen. We can call an omen. It's time. Let's choose an omen. Okay, so I don't think that we are... Let's wait. Let's try to establish what... We know that Burgundia is the same culture type as us. So we need to establish what we want our posture towards them to be. Either we're all friendly Herulians, or let's see if we can see what we can figure out about their military here. Culture map mode, trade goods map mode, provinces map mode. So right off the bat, I hit this provinces map mode, and the Burgundians are calling themselves Herulians, including the Danians and the part of the Guthonians here. And so that makes me think that, you know, we kind of want to grow this way because that's our name. We're Herulians. So let's try to establish that a little bit. Now let's look at these Cimbricans and Anglians too, because they're also bordering us. Now, if we weaken ourselves against the Herulians, we could end up getting invaded by the Anglians and the Cimmerians. So we probably want to see if we can might want to establish some of these guys as being allies somehow. This guy's got a 10 martial. 9, 10. This guy's lustful and ambitious. All right. So how to determine what they're thinking about us right now. Let's see if I can find some sort of a supply, fortifications, region. Okay, so this is Scandia. So this is the area that we're going to want to end up absorbing. And then we can have a choke point here at Germania. That makes sense. So, you know, strategically, it might not be a bad idea to, you know, head this way. If these guys are weaker than Burgundia, we might want to make these Burgundians our allies and then attack somebody who's weaker over here, which would make sense. Okay, so these are ports. We have a port here, so if we want to start building more ships, that might be something that we want to do. Because right, if we have ships, then people can't, and we have our ships doing like patrolling our borders, then maybe we can intercept before people make landfall on Herulia Centralis here. All right, so we've got Sardonia. We've got a land link to Sardonia. And it looks like we have, I think that dotted line means we can march people in. So we've got, wow. This province of Anglia, look, this guy's only got like one tribesman. That seems weak to me. Make friends. No. All right. Demand military access. This shows we have a neutral stance. So is that them or us? Neutral diplomacy. There's no active focus on any particular diplomatic end. And they haven't established any ideas at all. All right, then let's go to these guys and right click. It shows we have a neutral stance towards them. Diplomatic actions. Burgundian opinion. The Burgundian opinion of Herulia plus 10 because we have the same religion. And what's this? Neutral stance. So the fact that they are also Herulian. Okay, what choices do we have here? Select stance. Okay, changing this would cost us political influence, and we're down to 60 already. So I think we want to not totally run us ourselves out of. Let's look at alliance actions. Offer alliance. Ooh, what does this say? All right, look at this. So, offer alliance to Burgundy. If a country accepts our alliance offer, it may assist us during wars. Allied countries can be called into each other's offensive wars, will automatically be called to each other's aid if they are attacked. A country cannot refuse a defensive call to arms. And it says positive 60, negative 0. We need at least one more positive than negative reasons for it. We currently have 60. We have the same religion, plus 5, and plus 50 diplomatic relations. So, it looks like these guys are like really interested in being allies. What is this now down here? This defensive league. Invite the Germanic local power Burgundy to join a defensive league with us where we will defend together against hostile nations. So it looks like they would be willing to do that too, because we're positive. All right, so let's not do that yet, but I like both of those things. Ask for military access. Giving access will allow a country to peacefully move troops through and station ships in our territories without being granted access. Another country's armors cannot move through your territory unless at war with you or exiled. This will also improve our relations. Okay, so that's good. And then this give, enable them. Ish. So we're definitely not. So we can ask for military access, but we can't give them Apparently because we are at peace, we can't give military access. So that's interesting. All right, what's this now? Let's close that. We just want to see what all of our options are before we do anything. Okay, so if you want to fabricate a claim on a province, so that costs 20. Remember, we have 60. So we can do that somewhere else if we want to do that. But we don't want to fabricate a claim that way because we'll assess the ally actions of some other areas as well. See what kind of, because the more allies you have, the better. Other than, I do know that like in CK3, if you're allied and then they invite you to a war and you decline because you don't want to deal with it, that you can take a hit. So sometimes you end up embroiled in other people's wars if you have too many alliances. But it's always good to have an alliance also. Then if we wanted to improve our relations, it would cost us 25 gold, which we have. Okay, right now we have pretty good relations with them already. Okay, so this foreign powers opinions here, sort by their opinion of us. Okay, so it looks like Burgundia, we have a plus 10. We have zeros from a lot of people, and then once you get down, so are these other guys, these are probably all the people who have the same religion as us, I'm guessing. But judging by the Burgundians having this particular goodwill towards us, I think that initially we should take advantage of that and try to make an alliance that will cut off one side, give a buffer to between this north and us. Maybe eventually we can marry in and take their place over, or we can absorb them or do something else at some point. But we can focus on taking Denmark. We'll let these guys focus on north for now until we can figure out a way to backstab them at some later date. So right now, let's go ahead and offer an alliance. All right. Now we have an alliance. Awesome. Okay, so I see, so these are grayed out because we already have a diplomat heading that way. So diplomats en route until the 31st of October, 450. So it's currently 450. So this 450 relates to 304 BCE. So I guess that has to come up a few hundred years to just get to 0. And then I feel like this game goes a few hundred more years, and we'll have to research that and find out how many, so several hundred years worth of game, I think, ahead of us. So we'll definitely want to wait until it's a month. So it looks like here we have an alliance, even though our guy is still en route. So the other thing you can do in this game is you can load your troops onto ships. So it might be possible, another strategy that might not be horrible would be to make alliances with everybody around us so that we don't have hostile relations and don't have to worry about getting taken over by our neighbors, and then focus on when we do find somebody that we want to go to war with. As we are an island nation, I mean, we might want to, I don't know, take over Veneta up here and add that to our thing without having to compromise. We can start growing. I don't know if that's possible. Could head up and take over Norway or Grania, and then add Romerica. You know what I mean? Find wherever the weakest people are and whack them, and then add them to our thing, and then we can use that to take over somebody that's larger. So that's something to think about. Where's my Where's my war chiefs at? Where's Cerberus at? Where's Daz at? Where's Dal at? Give me some feedback. Crickets. This is where you put the crickets in. Yeah, plague. In time, buddy. Okay, so it's possible to offer an alliance to Anglia. Let's see. It's possible to offer an alliance to Eudosia. Cimbria would take an alliance. Looks like anybody not take an alliance? Looks like everybody would love to have an alliance. I don't want to get spread too thin on alliances though either. Maybe just my direct borders. And then I wonder how long an alliance goes for, and what it takes to break an alliance. That's something that we might need to learn. Let's find our diplomacy tab. Okay, so I'm curious why our alliance here doesn't show up in our foreign relations. It seems like the one that we would have. And this is Lamovia. Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, alliance actions. Okay, so dissolve the alliance. Here we go. Okay, so canceling alliance means no longer ask the country to help in our wars and will damage our relations. Okay, so I guess you would, if you wanted to go to war with somebody that you had an alliance with, you would just dissolve the alliance with your diplomat, and then you would do whatever you want at that point and not care about relations because you would then be going to war with them. So who cares? All right, so something else that we might want to do is come in and let's look at some of our individual settlements here. And we might need to build some more ships, right? 'Cause we want to get our ships up to 15. that is something I've heard is good to do. All right, so as far as I know, this is my only port. Isn't there a map mode that shows me the ports? What is this? Territory rank. What does that mean? Let's close this temporarily. Territory rank map mode. See the rank of territories. What? They all look the same to me. So what? Okay. Um, something for Kai. Okay, so this does show ports. So it looks like I have a port here and here. Okay, so that's interesting. This is coming from the territory rank map mode. That's interesting that it's showing ports and showing those sorts of things, but that's good to know. But I wanted to show Kai, if Kai's watching, and anyone else who's watching. So this is the Barbarian Power map mode, and it shows where um, these nodes are, where the barbarians are gonna come from. So this is barbarian nodes here, here, here in the north, and then you can see Pirate Haven. So you got a Pirate Haven on Eoia, and these guys are much closer. So if we had to worry about some spawns, this is where they'd be coming from, Ferodinia. So if we wanted to, we could go to Verinia, and as part of a war with them, we could destroy that pirate location. Oh, looks like there's another one up here in Grenia. These guys look like they're going to be particularly susceptible to these barbarians as well as pirates. So that could be a pretty dangerous place. And then over here, south of Finland or whatever. Let's go back to our port tactical. All right, so let's see how expensive it is to make boats, build ships in this place. Okay, so we have the ability in Scandia Insula province, in Insula Anglorum. It looks like we could build Liburnians, which is a light ship with a naval speed of 13 and a maneuver of 4. They don't look very powerful. And then we have triremes, which has a maneuverability of 3, so they're less maneuverable. Morale damage taken minus 10. Damage versus Liburnians, so they're good against Liburnians. These Liburnians aren't good against much. Their damage is not very good. Let's look at what the composition of our current fleet is. All right. Ooh, Liburnians. So they're both the weak ship. So maybe we need to upgrade. Well, these guys have a lower morale. All right, so we just merged him, gave him 2 ships. All right, so to purchase, the cost to recruit trireme is 8 gold. And here, monthly cost of maintenance. So they're more expensive and it costs more to maintain and it takes longer to build them. But my personal philosophy is might as well be the best. So if you're going to bother to do something, you should do it right and you should do it well. So if we can stay peaceful for a while until we get our fleet online, maybe we'll be purchasing some of those. So let's check our price. The price here is 8. I know from doing a different the tutorial that depending on the port they might cost different amounts. So remember that triremes are 8 there. Now let's check what it is where our other port is. Same. Looks the same. Let's get our, let's just start out and get our fleet up to like up to 5. Let's build 3 of these. Because we don't want to run. So it looks like it's going to take 277 days, so almost a year to get those ships. So knowing that it's going to take so long, I don't want to spend all of our money on ships. All right, so this shows us our levies. It's not showing us what the enemy levies are. Is there any way to know what the military strength of our opponents are? It seems like that would be something that's pretty important to know. It's something that was in CK3, CK2, you're always able to know um, what, how many people you have around you. Let's see what we can find out. Political. Okay, so that's the political. What is that? Looks like a fort to me. Fortifications. Yeah, those are forts. That's a fort. Fort. How come I don't have a fort? Or do I? There it is. All right. So that's my fort. There it is. Fortress +1. Fort infrastructure capacity. The first fort uses 3 points, and each subsequent fort uses 1. Fort uses 1. We currently use 3 out of 5 fort points. Exceeding this limit is possible. It comes at great expense. Local fort defense. All right, so if I wanted to build a building in a location, let me see. All right, so I'm right clicking on my own thing. Diplomatic actions. It's our own country. All right, where's my council? That is a good question. I haven't really spent any time looking at them yet. Okay, government. Somehow I missed this tab going down the list, so this is an important tab. All right, let's take a look. So here am I, and then I have these other 2 clan chiefs. They currently have 3 of 3 expected jobs, it says, and this guy has 3 of 3 expected jobs. So what does that mean exactly? We need to figure that out. What jobs is he doing? What are the 3 jobs that he is doing? So that's something I'm going to have to figure out. Definitely will be doing some more research outside of the stream to improve my capabilities here, but definitely learning a lot. This is good stuff. Let's add my clan chiefs to the. Let's add all my clan chiefs to my favorite. So I can keep track of their loyalty. All right, let's go back to the government tab. Let's look at these offices. All right. So it looks like T. Hildagains. He is likely to be the next tribal chief. Do you see that? This is the guy who is crafty and chaste, which both of those things were not what I thought were cool. Whereas this guy, he's 2-6, 11-6, and this other clan chief 5-5-4-3. So, we need to have a child. I wonder if we had a child, if he'd move right up the. I wonder if we had a child, if it would just jump to like right here. I guess if it was a boy child, it probably would. All right. Coffee break. Needed that. It was excellent. And then I have water now. Okay. So, where are we at? We made peace, or we made an alliance here. Crucial alliance. I think that we'll hold off on making any other alliances at the moment. Let's go back to our government tab and let's look at our laws. We never looked at that yet. We need to establish that. All right, let's look at some of these other positions. So we've got our arbitrator. And what is the arbitrator? This office grants the holder the following effects: monthly wage +1. Why is that in red? Why is that a negative thing? So it costs the arbitrator. No, it says he's gaining 1%. I mean, that's a gain. It should be a bonus. Should be green to me. Monthly character prominence. So he gets prominence as a result of his position. He gets prestige for his family. It looks like he's got another. It just gets a flat +10 prominence from the position. Monthly statesmanship. I'm hoping that's giving statesmanship to our whole country, not just to him, but maybe if he's the man, it's okay. From 48 loyalty. And he's improving our monthly political influence of +0.12. The office is in charge of managing domestic tribal relations and settling disputes in the name of the chief. Why is he... Okay, what's this? Impact. He has 7... It's because he's got a 7 charisma. So that's a charisma-based... Further modified by 38% of whatever that is. What is that symbol? Okay, so his statesmanship. So him having a higher statesmanship boosts that. So this is decaying and has a reduced base. So he will gain more statesmanship based on current and prior positions in office. Characters with more statesmanship will be able to better perform their duties, enabling additional bonuses and events. Okay. Good to know. So he's got a 7 charisma and a 38.6% statesmanship, which is affecting his ability to function as arbitrator. And whatever this is, aggressive expansion change. So this is affecting our aggressive expansion change. Which is here. Okay. What that means is aggressive expansion indicates how other nations are likely to view you. If you have a lot of aggressive expansion, countries which consider you relevant to their interests will be less inclined to engage us. So I see that if we want to make out, that's right, if this was a high number, people would be less likely to want to become, partners with us in any way. Okay, so that is the arbitrator. What's this now? Statesmanship has an effective rating of 2. At their peak, they will reach 7. So what? So 2 out of 7, that's not very good. In that it's not very good, it's still higher than what some of our other guys are doing in their positions, which is 0. So it looks like it shows what the main stat is for these different positions. These are charisma, these ones are martial, these ones are what is that? Which one's these charisma? One of them is charisma, one of them is finesse. So let's see what we can do. And also, I need to learn about if moving these guys around is going to impact their loyalty. That's a factor. Okay, because these 73, 63, 53, 48, 73. All right, let's look at this guy. So, Elder. What does an Elder do? So an elder gets a little bit of a monthly wage. Maybe the fact that these guys are getting a wage and that counts as a minus, I'm just speculating, is that money might be coming out of wages here, minus 0.43. So maybe that's, I don't see how the math works on that yet, but we'll keep an eye on that. So he's getting 2%, he's getting a 1% wage. This guy's getting a 2% wage. It's prominence, prestige, prominence. Yeah. Monthly savings. So that's what we're doing for you. What are you doing for us? Okay, so he's increasing our political influence 0.13. He can get up to 8. And he's increasing the happiness. So as the elder, he's increasing political influence and happiness. All right, and this is based off of, he's got an 8 charisma, so it's pretty good. I just want to click on a button just to see. Okay, so these are some guys that are just hanging out, I guess. So this shows, oh, 3, 1, 1, 0. He's a 0 charisma. So certainly the best guys are in the jobs right now. I wish it showed what their main stat was. I guess all I have to do is hover. So 7, 8. All right. Now, okay, so this is a war chief. So is he a war chief? He's not a tribal chief. He's not a clan chief. He's just our war chief. So he's like our military advisor. And I agree with you, Dr. Arnie, that that aggressive expansion changes not very much. Similarly, 0.02 down here on the war chief for what his impact is to our monthly military experience, 0.02. That's not very good, but it's, maybe better than, see, who else? So we got a guy here who's got a 6, and this guy's a 6. I'm noticing that hild gains, so Sigric hild gains here are not, and these are the three, let's just evaluate that these are the three same guys that we have available for all the positions. So Themelichus, Askager, Actimer. Themelichus, Actimer, Askager. Okay, so same guys. Yeah, Plague, you are right. That is good math. It isn't 0, it is 0.03. It's positive. Hey, let's stay positive. It's better than nothing. Could be negative, but it's not. All right, let's check out. Oh, we have a bodyguard. All right, so let's take a look at this. We got this Nebogast Geraldus. Now, he isn't doing anything for us. Look, there's in this spot here, this guy is a 0. And what we want in our bodyguard position is a hero. So, I noticed that we had a guy who had a 6 martial. We're going to need to check him against these other spots before we... But we could swap this guy out for the Melicus guy and have a better bodyguard because he's got a 6 martial. And so we might want to do that. Note the loyalty is lower, but maybe that's why this guy's got the job. Because look at this. We've got 73 loyalty from the bodyguard appears to be giving us a monthly political influence of plus 0.18. Let's go up to the, does it say, oh yeah, see look, the bodyguard 0.18. See, all those guys are affecting our political influence. They're adding up to that plus 1.15. So if it's his loyalty that's generating that number, is it the loyalty generating it on all these guys? So notice, the 73 gets a 0.18. The war chief has only a loyalty of 48. And this guy is only giving us 0.12, and he's only got a 48. So if we swap the war chief out for Themelichus, for instance, that would up our loyalty from a 48 to a 59, which I don't know how many points that is, probably 0.01, 0.02. But it's a game of point ohs, right? It'll add up over time. So then the question is, what's more important? I mean, when it's straight across, when they both got a 6, we might want to swap out 6 for a 59. We get him out. But if loyalty is the factor and the most important thing to come out of these guys, let's look at some of these other positions. Maybe Thamelicus would be better in one of these other positions. Let's look at Thamelicus. So he's a 6-6-3-9. Look, he's got a 9 in the sun. So let's see what these other guys have as a sun. This guy's a 4. Because you want to play to their strengths. All right, and then our wise one, look, he's only got a 4. 0, 0, 0. All right, let's look at, see, look, we're not getting any bonus from none of these guys. So this guy's got an 8 in the laurel there, which is what? We need to see what that is. So laurel is finesse. I mean, that's the only thing this guy's good at, is finesse. And he's certainly better than both of these guys, who are garbage in finesse. So then the other thing too is, like, if we get rid of this guy, like say we made, let's just go ahead. Look, this is unacceptable for a magistrate. All right, so this magistrate has a 3. This one's a 4. Doing nothing. I mean, 0.13 from his loyalty, but we'll raise their loyalty some other. We'll try to find some ways to get their loyalty up. We need to have, we like the best man for the job. That's what we do. So, look at that. Askager. This guy's got a 10 in finesse. It's being wasted. So Askager's a 10, he's an 8. So we're going to get rid of both of the magistrate and the apothecary, and we'll get these guys in. Which job is more important? Apothecary or magistrate? And then we'll put our best guy there, and we'll go secondary guy in the next slot. Also, that's the only thing these guys are good at. So let's get these guys out. Maybe these other guys will be better somewhere else. All right, let's see what the magistrate does. Okay, so magistrate does what? Political influence, but yeah, they all do that. Okay, but here, what does this guy, I mean, we don't even know, what does the job do other than in charge of the tribe's treasury and the collection of tribute? That's okay, that's the most important job. Askager. Do I have to dismiss the incumbent first? No, there we go. Ah, look, plus 6%. Yes. Yes. Woo! That's what I have to say about that. All right, we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna change some stuff. All right, so now family members are scorned. I see. All right, well we'll deal with that. We don't care. Best man for the job. If someone feels scorned, we'll fire him out of a cannon. You hear me? Fire him out of a fucking cannon. I don't care. All right. All right. Who else we got? Maybe we'll give him another job somewhere else. All right. Apothecary. All right. We're going to Actumer. You are a new apothecary. What's our apothecary do? So for the medical treatment and health of the chief and tribal nobility, that's pretty important. Not as important as treasury, but it's important. So boom. All right. So all right. So we've got look, we're on the board with plus 0.000%, but at least it's on the board. All right. And I feel like this number was plus 1.18 before maybe. So maybe it's going up. I think maybe we're getting more political influence. I don't know. We'll see. I think these guys are both cuz look, their loyalty has gone up too just because they were given a job. All right. So, let's assess Wise One and High Priest because I know we have a guy who's on deck who's got a really good score there. All right. So our wise ones, we got a 4 and a 4. So which job is more important? Wise one. This office is selected for their learning and advise the chief on a wide variety of matters from astronomy to technology. Okay, so we know that technology wins the game eventually. We want tech. We need tech. High priest. Senior priest directs religious sacrifice, festivals, and divination. You know, I'm not too concerned about religion and stuff. CK3, we're really gonna turn on the religion. I know how to do big things with the religion there. So let's go with the wise one. Let's take a look. So he's a 4. 4 is unacceptable. Oh look, we got a couple 9s. Look at this. Could put 9s in either of these guys. So we'll do that. So I think we're looking at the wise one. Both these guys are 9s. So we're gonna go wise one, Thamelicus. Uh, Thamelicus. Oh look. All right. Our impact, we got plus 2.4. Okay. Now we got more happiness. Maybe this is going to help us with our getting future tech. All right, we're improving our levels here. This is good. Okay, so High Priest, we're going to swap you out too. You're not good for that. Okay, so Waldmund Segamandrus. We can go from a 4 to a 9. Look, now we're at plus 6 impact. Omen power, more powerful. Excellent. Okay, I'm noticing our political influence is going down a little bit. That's all right. But we have Omen power, which will be come into factor. All right, let's look down here again. Let's look at our bodyguard. His loyalty has gone down for some reason because he's part of this scorned family. All right, and our bodyguard is a 4. We can go to a 5. We could have a better bodyguard. Sword Chief's a 6. I feel like these guys were the right guys for those jobs. In the first place, we could see if that's changed. We got a 7. These guys are 7 and an 8. Segamandrus. As long as they're the scorned family, we might as well keep them all scorned. You know what I'm saying? So we'll get, let's do it. We're going to improve our bodyguard situation. We're going to scorn all the Geralduses. I think, isn't my wife a Geraldus? Let's check that real quick. Let's just check that really quick. She's a Geralda. Ooh, I've scorned my wife's family. We're going to scorn them. I do notice that this war chief's gone down. All right, we're going to do it anyways. All right, we're on the board. We've improved our impact here. Our manpower recover speed has gone up. So we have, let's just double check. Sagamandrus 7. All right. Okay, scorn family. All families in our country expect to hold a total of 3 jobs and offices in order to be content. This is dependent on the total number of jobs in our country. So this family is less than the expected number of jobs is scorned, lowering the loyalty. In order to stop being scorned, this family requires 3 of the following positions: government offices, researcher positions, government legions, and navies. I see. All right, so I feel like we can look at some of the other. So this is government offices. Governorships, researcher positions, legions, and navies. So what do we got here for these guys? So this guy's at 2, 7, 3, 4, 4, 5, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 4. Two of 3. I could get Segamandruses out of being scorned if I threw one of these guys. Let me go to my families chart. Let's just take a look. Show families. All right. So the Sigmandri are 2 of 3. Geraldis are at 1 of 3. Hildgains are good. I guess those are the only families that matter. Is that, I mean, my own family is scorned. Let's look at this Gundred. So he's a 7. He's got a better martial though. 8, 7. If I was gonna swap somebody, I'd swap that guy. They both have a 7. Let's try and see if that minus 0.03 goes up at all. Stayed the same, so it got them out of being scorned. The Gundred family doesn't matter, and the Geralduses are available and scorned, but that number didn't change. But we got the Segamandruses back being unscorned. Hey, H-Rays. Hey, Dal. Are you still here or are you gone? Hey, H-Rays. How's it going? Do I know you by a different name from somewhere else? Anyways, thanks for checking it out. Appreciate it. Should check out. I got a YouTube link. There's a pretty cool teaser video. It'll talk about what I'm all about. I'm trying to do an Ironman playthrough of all the Paradox grand strategy games, starting with this game, Imperator Rome, moving from here into CK3, going from CK3 into Europa Universalis 4, and then into Vic 2 or Vic 3 if Victoria 3 is out by then, and then from Victoria 3 into Hearts of Iron 4, and from Hearts of Iron 4 into Stellaris, playing all the games on, like I said, on Ironman mode. I got a Twitter link and a Facebook link also, so if you can keep track of, I'm going to be adding some schedules to the Twitch. Okay, so we're done with these guys, but I remember that we were looking to try to get some jobs for these Geralduses. Maybe they could be researchers. I feel like let's just at least look at the researchers and see. So that was under tech. All right, so we've got. Oh yeah, these guys. Okay, so we got Segamandrus, right? He needs his job, and then these Hildgains. Those guys. How many of those guys had jobs over in this other deal? The government. Any Hildgains have jobs here? No. So those guys have their 3 jobs as researchers. What about I could set somebody as a commander of our units levies. Okay, not seeing yet how to change the commander on the nope. Levies. I'm not ready to raise the levies yet. Collapse all, expand all. That's not doing anything. Yeah, okay, because there's nothing yet. Sort by strength. It's nothing. Clicking that doesn't do anything. Right clicking it? No. No legions. I wonder what it would cost to raise them and then see what pops up. and then maybe I'll have access to being able to do something with them. And maybe I could just dismiss them, or I could set them to some sort of a job. Let's try it. Let's just do it just to play around. We've got to figure it out. Raise. Okay. So it looks like I've got a couple of different units here. What have I got? So I got the first and second Berjana of Scandia, and they have different leaders. All right, so let's set attachments as being allowed. Okay, so we got the chief of the Hildgains clan is leading his group. We'll make attachments allowed for, I don't know why we wouldn't make attachments be allowed. We can do whatever we want. What is that? Why? What is this? Mercenaries, led by Casleek Twomi. So we got some mercenaries here. It's pretty tough. If we're gonna assign somebody to something, it would be him, right? Okay, so and he's got, what are these guys? All right, we'll figure this out. Mercenaries. All right, so 12, 13 martial ability, 4 cohorts. Whatever that means, I lack the 100 gold required. All right, so we got 2 units here. So we got the first and second. So this 83% means that's definitely what we want to do there. What is the cost of leaving them moving around? I have fleet maintenance, but is there like levy maintenance? Maybe I should automate these guys to patrol or something. Defend the borders, independent actions. I don't know if we want to do that. And if I attach this guy, then that'd be a guy without a job, right? Oh, that's me. It should show if they have more than 3 jobs. All right, scorned families. Failing families could have so scorned. Bad research ratio. Let's go back to that. Let's make sure that our best guys are researching stuff. This one's based on Marshall. No, back. 7 versus a 9. Alright, 7 versus an 8. And religious. Now this guy's got a 10. So he could be definitely replaced with a Gundred, but that's not a Giraldus. And then we lose a job for a Hildgains, and then those guys might become scorned. Isn't that right? Oh, these guys are so useless. We're not going to worry about the Giralduses. They're lucky that I'm married to one. Alright, so I think what I want to do is we're coming up on 2 hours. I think I'm going to do a couple of things, and then we'll wrap it up for this first stream. I'm going to leave these guys raised just for now. I'm going to hold off on these guys are also Herulians. Those guys are Herulians also. I'm going to make allies out of all the Herulians. We're going to be a united Herulian. Combined number of allies minus 5. What does that mean? Well, that means I'm going to do it anyways. And Guthonia. 5530. We have too many relations minus 20. Combined number of allies minus 10. Alright, well I want to make these guys all allies. And then if other people don't like that, then they won't be allies, clearly. Alright. Alright, now let's take a look at my neighbors and see where they're at. Okay, it looks like, so they don't want alliances anymore because I've already established alliances, so that will seal their fate. But they got this nice allied cultural Herulians. Okay, and then we'll deal with that moving into the future. And I will continue to do research, some other style learn as much as I can to apply towards the next playthrough, which I'll be in touch with everybody through all my different social media sites as to when the next time that I will be streaming. And I appreciate everybody who showed up today and participated. It was a lot of fun for me, and I'm definitely going to be back. If not tomorrow, then in the coming days, and I will look forward to seeing you all then. All right. So this is Gustyrill signing off. Thanks, everybody. Bye.